Today, can someone volunteer to read? Okay, yes, thank you. I'll let you know. Yes. So this chapter is entitled as Most Confidential Knowledge. Contains important verses like Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam and like those verses. Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, that is one another verse. Napichets Duracharo Bhajite Mam Anandava. Like that. Different important verses. So it is called as Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga. It basically contains the glories of the supremacy of Lord, how Lord is supreme, He is the creator, annihilator of the universe, and also the glories of the process of devotional service. It has 5 parts. The first part is the importance of the knowledge of devotional service. So, what are its qualifications, disqualifications? And then Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world. So, Krishna describes this in a way so that it evokes devotion. Then Krishna contrasts the non-worshippers, means those monis and those who deride the form of the Lord, with the worshippers who are devotees. Then next again Krishna compares the demigod worshippers and devotees. Then finally Krishna describes in around 7 verses the glories of devotional service. Okay. Yes, Prabhu, you can recite after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
Idam te guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave
इदं तु ते गुह्यतमं प्रवक्ष्यामि अनसूयवे
Dhyanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajñatva Mokshase Ashubhat.
ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे अशुभात्.
Okay, the translation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So, the second chapter, it contains knowledge of Atma. It is confidential. It is Guhya Gyan. But superior to that knowledge is knowledge about Krishna. It is about Krishna's energies and all. Like we saw in 7th chapter. Uh, no, this is my superior energy. This is my inferior energy. And this 9th chapter, it contains about knowledge about devotional service of Krishna. This is most confidential because devotional service can even conquer Krishna himself. It is called Sri Krishna Akarshani. You'll study in NOD also in detail. So that's why this knowledge is the most confidential knowledge. 7th chapter, the knowledge is more confidential. This is most confidential knowledge. Like this helps in actually knowing Krishna. Because this helps one in establishing relationship with Krishna. When we establish a relationship with a person, then we can know very finer details about that person, about his interests, about his likes, who who are his favorites, all these things. Like official information you can even get from Google or LinkedIn, where he's working, which company he's working, where he studied, all these things. But you want personal information, like what is his personality like, what are his likes, which people he likes to associate with, all these things. For that you need a relationship. Similarly, if you want to know about very finer details of Krishna, about his relationship with devotees, about how he loves his devotees, so for that one needs to practice devotional service. So that's why this knowledge is called as most confidential knowledge. Okay, we will read from Prabhupada. Yes, bro, you can read.
As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge.
Yeah, so just a minute. So in Bhagavatam it is said, Shinvata Shraddhaya Nityam Granata Swacheshtitam Kalena na atidirghena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. So by hearing with faith, with regularly Nityam, then Granata Swacheshtitam. By one should also make some effort to understand the knowledge. Then Kalena, by the passage of time, na atidirghena. So soon that Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. So Lord enters the heart. So one becomes more Krishna conscious. Then it is also said, Satam Prasangat Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Hritkarna Rasayana Kata Tad Joshana Dasha Pavargavatmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishyati. So as one hears about Krishna in the association of devotees, so slowly he begins to develop taste for that. Initially, it starts with faith, then it's slowly attraction and complete devotion is uh, is developed. Okay, yes, you can continue.
The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this ninth chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed.
So our eagerness for Krishna consciousness we can express through hearing about Krishna, and Krishna reciprocates by giving the intelligence. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurukam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam apayanti. Yes.
The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the books. And in the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the seventh and eighth chapters are specifically related to devotional service. And because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the ninth chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He, therefore, has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the confidential state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now,
Yeah, a devotee means he's freed from the effects of the modes of material nature. So that's why he's liberated. Yes. Yeah.
now, this first verse has specific significance. The word idam jnanam, this knowledge, refers to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. Similarly, to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understand that he is not the body.
Yeah. So we should not theoretically or logically understand that we are not this body, we are Atma, but we should understand what it means to be knowing we are Atma. Accordingly, our activities also should change. Yes.
In the seventh chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now, in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be further delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuye vai in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all enemies of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotee of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So, such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial.
Yeah. So envy is basically opposite of devotion. So devotees want to glorify God, Krishna, but those who are envious, they want to you know, keep Krishna down and say that they can also become God, and Krishna is is formed by the combination of Brahman with the mode of goodness. So like that, they say different things. So that is a symptom of envy of Krishna. We have discussed this during the Upanishad, etc. Here, Ashubhat, Moksha say Ashubhat. Ashubhat means inauspiciousness. So inauspiciousness is being in samsara. Because being in samsara, the living entity uh, is separated from Krishna. That's why it's unhappy, and it because of attachment to the material world, it suffers threefold miseries and the four problems of life. So that is the Ashubhat, and by practicing devotional service, one is freed from this samsara. So that's what it is moksha se Ashubhat. So this verse explains the different benefits of knowledge of devotional service. So it is very guhyatamam. It is very most confidential, and it liberates one. By knowing this, one is liberated from samsara. Yeah, next verse is also a very important verse. Describes some 8 qualities of devotional service, 8 features of devotional service. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam
Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukam Kartumavyayam.
Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumavyayam.
So, okay, translation. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully perfect. Okay, so the Raja Guhyam we saw in previous verse, it is Guhyatamam. We saw why it is most confidential. Then it is Pavitram and Idam Uttamam means it destroys. Uttama, Tama means which takes you above Tama, means which takes you above the sin. So because by performing devotional service, all sinful reactions are destroyed. That's why it is Pavitram and Idam Uttamam. Pavitram means pure. Pure means again free from sin. This Prabhupada explains in detail in purport. Pratyakshavagam means this can be directly experienced. like we saw earlier that verse, Satam prasangat mama veera samvido bhavanti hrutkarna rasayana kada. So by hearing gradually one can experience the Lord. And there are some other explanation also Prabhupada gives. Dharmyam, because bhakti means it consists of very righteous acts. Devotees, they see everyone as Lord's part and parcel. That's why they don't harm anyone. And Ishopnishad, we saw the Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam verse. So by becoming a devotee, one becomes dharmic. So that's why it is dharmyam. Susukam, and it is relatively easy compared to the other process of karma yoga, jnana yoga. Yes, Prabhu, you can read the purport.
This chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrine and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kanada, Kafila, Kapil, Yajnavalkya,
Shandilya,
Sandilya, and Vaishvanara.
Vaishvanara.
Vaishvanara. And finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So there is no depth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now the Lord says that this ninth chapter is the king of all such knowledge. The essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and different kinds of philosophy. It is the most confidential because confidential or transcendental knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. And the king of all combination knowledge culminates in devotional service.
Sorry, I'm not. Your voice is not sudden.
I think someone else is unmuted.
Okay. Okay, you can continue from here. And the king of.
And the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service.
Okay. Yeah. So these all philosophers like Gautama is the he is the primary teacher of Nyaya philosophy, and Kannada is the primary teacher of Kannada is the primary teacher of Vaisheshika. Kapila is for Samkhya, and others are like for yoga and Mimamsa, and finally Vyasadeva uh, is for Vedanta, and Vedanta is he wrote it as Vedanta Sutra, and so that is the culmination of all the things. And Prabhupada, why he is calling Bhagavad Gita the king of education? Because it is the essence. Because the final message, like even Krishna tells in 15th chapter, Vedeshcha Sarver Ahameva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Veda Vidyevacha. So the essence is the devotional service. So then the devotional service is very nicely, elaborately described in Bhagavad Gita. So in that way, Bhagavad Gita is called the Raja Vidya. Like Prabhupada's book also is there, Raja Vidya, he explains it in there. Yes, Prabhu, can continue.
Generally, people are not educated in this confidential knowledge. They are educated in external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved with so many departments: politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, etc. There are so many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities. But there is unfortunately no university or educational institution where the science of the spirit soul is instructed. Yet the soul is the most important part of the body. Without the presence of the soul, the body has no value. Still, people are placing great stress on the bodily necessities of life, not caring for the vital soul.
Yeah, we see that soul. Yeah, there is a lot of so many every day, perhaps so many thousands of GBs of knowledge is being uploaded everywhere of all of, and it is all concerned about the external. It's all external knowledge. It's all about how to maintain the body, how to make money, and that's all, and how to do sense gratification, and how at the bodily level. But that's why, and still it is going on, and because of that many problems are there, because the this Raja Vidya is neglected. It is not people are not even aware of it. So that is the problem. Yes, you can continue.
The Bhagavad Gita, especially from the second chapter on, stresses the importance of the soul. In the very beginning, the Lord says that this body is perishable and that the soul is not perishable.
Hmm.
Antavanta ime deha nitya
Yes.
yokta
Sharirina.
sharira sharirana. That is a confidential part of knowledge. Simply knowing that the spirit soul is different from this body and that its nature is immutable, indestructible, and eternal. But that gives no positive information about the soul. Sometimes people are under the impression that the soul is different from the body, and that when the body is finished or one is liberated from the body, the soul remains in a void and becomes impersonal. But actually, that is not the fact. How can the soul, which is so active within this body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? It is always active. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active. And its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge. These activities of the spirit soul are therefore indicated here as constituting the king of all knowledge, the most confidential part of all knowledge.
Yeah, so this is the belief of Mayavadis. They believe that the soul merges and becomes Brahman, and the Buddhists they think the soul enters Shunyava, means becomes void. Okay, yes, this knowledge you can yeah continue.
Yes, Prabhu. This is the purest form of all activities, as explained in Vedic literature. In the Padma Purana, man's sinful activities have been analyzed and are shown to be the result of sin after sin. Those who are engaged in fruity activities are entangled in different stages and forms of sinful reactions. For instance, when the seed of a particular tree is sown, the tree does not appear immediately to grow. It takes some time. It is first a small sprouting plant, then it assumes the form of a tree. Then it flowers and bears fruit, and when it is complete, the flowers and fruits are enjoyed by persons who have sown the seed of the tree. Similarly, a man performs a sinful act, and like a seed, it takes time to fructify. There are different stages. The sinful action may have already stopped within the individual, but the result of the fruit of that sinful action is still to be suffered. There are sins which are still in the form of a seed, and there are others which are already fructified and are giving us fruit, which we are experiencing as distress and pain.
So yeah, there is sometimes there is instant karma, sometimes there is delayed karma. Like if somebody misbehaves with another person, immediately he may get a response. But if somebody is not studying well, then the response will not come immediately. It may come after at the end of the year in exams, or it may come at the end of the studies. He may not get job or something. So, or sometimes, and when it comes to karma, if somebody commits some sin, it may take, it may come in the next life. Because for this life, they may have very good karma. So even if they commit sin, they may not experience reaction. So it will come in the next life.
As,
Yeah, continue as
as
explained.
explained in the 28th verse of the 7th chapter, a person who has completely ended the reaction of all sinful activities and who is fully engaged in pious activities, being freed from the duality of this material world, becomes engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, those who are actually engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already freed from all reactions. This statement is confirmed in the Padma Purana.
Yeah. Aprarabdam phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam kremenaiva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. Yeah, retranslation.
For those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified in the stalk or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish.
Yeah. So aprarabdha, so karma, there are, it is of two types. Aprarabdha karma. Aprarabdha karma means which is still in the stock and which will come for the future lifetimes. And then prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means the karma that is given for the current life. So that will uh, like some things are like no already decided, like our parents, our financial status at the time of birth, our talents, our complexion, uh, physique. So some things are like no fixed. So these are result of the prarabdha karma. So when one does devotional service, what is first destroyed is aprarabdha karma. Now aprarabdha karma, we don't know what is our aprarabdha karma. So when it gets destroyed also, we may not see any tangible effect of it. Then if one is very advanced, then prarabdha karma also may get destroyed, but that is not so easy. So aprarabdha karma, what is the effect of its getting destroyed means, now for the next life, uh, the karma means next life, if one cannot perfect in one life, so the next life's karma means the next life where you will be born and all, these are all decided by Krishna. Means they are not based on your previous life's karma. So that is the thing. Okay. In this way, like Prabhupada is saying, because it devotional service purifies one of karma. So that is, it is called Uttamam. Uttamam and uh, Pavitra. Yes, you can continue. Therefore,
Therefore, the purifying potency of devotional service is very strong, and it is called Pavitram Uttamam, the purest. Uttama means transcendental. Tamas means this material world or darkness, and Uttama means that which is transcendental to material activities. Devotional service are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that devotees are engaged just like ordinary men. One who can see and is familiar with devotional service will know that they are not material activities. They are all spiritual and devotional, uncontaminated by the material modes of material nature.
especially for someone who is very advanced and whose prarabdha is also destroyed, their their activities are all spiritual and it is not contaminated by the modes of material nature. Yes. Now Prabhupada is explaining the Pratyakshavagama. Yes.
It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offense, feels some transcendental pleasure and is very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually sin. Furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. This advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. The method itself is so pure that by simply engaging it one becomes pure.
Okay. Yeah. So now you can take around 5 minutes, 3 minutes and think about what are some practical changes, observable in due course of practice of devotional service. Let's say around 10 years. You must have seen the changes in yourself and others who who are also introduced to your time or in senior devotees. So you can think of in habits, behavior, attitude, what they think about life, all these things. So you can take around 3 to 5 minutes. We'll discuss. Okay, so you can raise your hand for first question. Okay, moments. Okay, yes, Yashas bro can answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So first of all, if any person practice the devotional service, so the first thing is they become humble and they become
Mm,
very mentally strong. Because one of my devotee friend have some problem. So he
mm,
said, if I am not a devotee at that
mm,
time,
mm,
in this time, so I maybe commit suicide
mm,
because he has some problem
mm,
at his company and his hometown.
mm,
So he said, if I'm not a devotee, so I'll maybe commit suicide. But because of the devotee association, I know the value of life,
mm,
and attitude is fully changed because our ego is not
mm,
uh, trying to bow down in someone, and
mm,
because we become humble by the
mm,
practice of devotional service, we are bowing to deities, not only deities, even the non-living object also.
mm,
And the philosophy, everybody have his own philosophy. It's very hard to leave our philosophy because from our childhood we are feeding some ritualistic philosophy and some other philosophy, some Mayavadi philosophy. So there is a khichdi kind of thing,
mm,
so it's very hard to leave the old philosophy. But by the devotional service, there are so many person. First, they are not convinced by the philosophy, but they are practicing the service. They are doing service, and by the service, they change their philosophy and they said, no, the Krishna conscious philosophy is very practical and it's according to the Shastra.
yes, yes, yes. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, anyone wants to add? You can tell one, two, 3 points also. Not no need to tell all. Um, yes, Sundari Subhadranathan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Mm,
So, Prabhuji, in terms of habits, we see that earlier we used to procrastinate a lot,
mm,
but because of practicing devotion, we
mm.
are a sort of regulated in our bad habits. I mean, not
In
completely
habits.
gone,
Okay,
but
okay.
yes, at least our bad habits are now, I mean, laziness and all those things. They are
Mm,
getting, and because of that, we have maintained a little harmony in our day to day life.
mm,
So that is a material improvement, and
mm,
because the routine is maintained,
mm,
so we are able to do the sadhana also. So
mm,
that is in terms of habits,
mm,
and we are more sattvic now.
mm,
We don't do junk things. We
mm,
don't watch movies. We don't
mm,
spend our time on reading mundane
mm,
literature. So that keeps our mind too much under control and determined in devotion.
mm,
And then there are many points in that, but I'll cut short. Then
mm,
behavior. In terms
mm,
of behavior, um, uh, I'll talk about mine only, Prabhuji. So in terms of behavior, we see that I I consider myself that I was very reactive, and
mm,
I was very, short tempered. Also, you can say,
mm,
not very, but yes, it
mm,
was there. Maybe age or I don't know. But I realized that when you understand that all the living beings are just part and parcels of Krishna, and whatever they are doing is their part they are
mm,
playing. So we may be getting affected, but we
mm,
get immediately calm also, because now
mm,
from reaction we have shifted to response.
mm, mm.
So that is the
Yes.
change. So behavior becomes more mature, calmer, and
Mm,
less reactive, and
mm,
we become less judgmental. Maybe
okay.
at times we
Yes.
do that also,
Mm,
but immediately we have this realization that we should not judge. Maybe that is their conditioning, so we should not judge. So
mm,
we get this realization. Maybe we will
mm,
judge also, but immediately we get it. Then compassion, the biggest quality that I feel is we have compassion. Behavior wise, we feel compassion for everyone. And when we go for book distribution, we sometimes get some nasty comments, some
mm,
harsh comments also.
mm,
But If it would have been some different profession and we would have gone for some sales thing, then probably our reaction would have not been same. But when we go for book distribution, we understand that how the person is reacting is out of their behavior, not they are not telling us, they that is their condition. So we develop compassion. And obviously Jeevadaya, that is a part of that only. Then next is attitude, Prabhuji. So attitude becomes like, again we consider everybody as the part and parcel of Krishna. So we don't consider inferior or superior. Maybe we can consider it professionally, but still internally, somewhere under the guidance of our mentors or under the guidance of the senior devotees, we are mostly reminded that our attitude should be compassionate towards others. So we become more humble and we become strong minded, because even the wrong things come to us, we don't react in a way. Yes. Then philosophy of life. Yes, so devotional service is the only way to life. This becomes our philosophy. And it goes with alignment with simple living and high thinking. So we have a very simple lifestyle. And with our ABCD formula, we are always trying to engage in devotion, and even we are trying to engage others to come into our philosophy or understand Krishna consciousness. So that is our motto of life: devotional service, and bringing everyone to devotional service.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Hemavarna Lalita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandasarams Prabhu. Relative to have behavior, Prabhu, I am succumbing to patience. So that is a, I am very short temper. Now I am developing patience, and whatever work I do, I need the entitlement. The job is done by you, it's good. But after hearing from the scriptures, after reading it, so the entitlement is an act of pride. I mechanically avoiding that entitlement, Prabhu. Actually it is not automatically it is not coming. I am trying to avoid that one. And in case of philosophy of life, serving the Vaishnavas, to get the mercy of the Vaishnavas, so that I can improve in Krishna consciousness. These 2 points only, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
thank you for sharing very honestly. Thank you. Okay, now you can take around again 2-3 minutes. You can take around 3 minutes and write yourself. You need not share what all tangible changes you saw in your own life. In these four aspects or some others also, we heard some examples. So based on that, you can write in your own words around some 5, 6, 7 points. Okay, then we'll continue. Okay. Yes, like we can see how one becomes more selfless, becomes more sensitive and all in terms of behavior. Okay. Yes, Sharad Murari Pro, we can continue in the Vedans.
Yes, Project. In the Vedanta Sutra 3 to 26, this is also described in the following words. Prakashasya karmani abhyasat. Devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in the activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. A practical example of this can be seen in the previous life of Narada, who in that life happened to be the son of a maidservant. He had no education, nor he was born into a high family. But when his mother was engaged in serving great devotees, Narada also became engaged, and sometimes in the absence of his mother, he would serve the great devotees himself. Narada personally says, उच्छिष्टलेपान् अनुमोदितो द्विजैः कृत्स्म भुञ्जे तद् आपष्टकिल्बिषा इवं प्रवृत्तस्य विशुद्धचेतसः तद्धर्म इवात्मा रुचि प्रजायते. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.25, Narada describes his previous life to be his disciple Vyasadeva. He says that while engaged as a boy servant for those purified devotees during the 4 months of their stay, he was intimately associating with them. Sometimes those sages left remnants of food on their dishes, and the boy who would wash their dishes wanted to taste the remnants. So he asked the great devotees for their permission. And when they gave it, Narada ate those remnants and consequently became freed from all sinful reactions. As he went on eating, he gradually became as pure hearted as the sages. The great devotees relished the taste of unceasing devotional service to the Lord by hearing and chanting, and Narada gradually developed the same taste. Narada says further, Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayatam Anugrahena Shravanam Manohara Ta Shraddhaya Me Anupadam Vishnavata Priya Shravasya Anga Mamabhad Ruchi. By associating with the sages, Narada got the taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and he developed a great desire for devotional service. Therefore, as described in the Vedanta Sutra, Prakashascha Karmani Abhyasat, if one is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service, everything is revealed to him automatically, and he can understand this is called Pratyaksha, directly perceived.
Yeah. So, like Narada developing this taste, it is Pratyaksha Avagama. At sadhaka stage, one may not have the taste, but one at least have that respect and that consistency in regulation in doing that. So that is also a symptom, a tangible symptom, a progressive symptom. Yes, you can continue the word dharmya.
The word dharmya means the path of religion. Narada was actually a son of a maidservant. He had no opportunity to go to school. He was simply assisting his mother, and fortunately, his mother rendered some service to the devotees. The child Narada also got the opportunity and simply by association achieved the highest goal of all religion. The highest goal of all religion is devotional service, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai pumsa paro dharma yato bhaktir adhokshaje. Religious people generally do not know that the highest perfection of religion is the attainment of devotional service. As we have already discussed in regard to the last verse of 8th chapter, Vedeshu Yaggeshu Tapavsu Chaiva, generally Vedic knowledge is required for self-realization. But here, although Narada never went to the school or of the spiritual master and was not educated in the Vedic principles, he acquired the highest result of Vedic study. This process is so potent that even without performing the religious process regularly, one can be raised to the highest perfection. How is this possible? This is also confirmed in Vedic literature. Acharya Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is in association with great acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all the knowledge necessary for realization.
Yeah. So the point Prabhupada is making with, though Narada has not performed other dharmas because he performed devotional service, Narada is like Narada has performed all the dharmas. This is one way of saying it. Another way is by doing devotional service, one become dharmic, means the behavior, everything is ethical, righteous, is compassionate. That way also it can be seen. Yes. Now Prabhupada explains Susukham.
The process of devotional service is a very happy one. Susukham. Why? Devotional service consists of Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:523. So one can simply hear the chanting of the glories of the Lord or can attend philosophical lectures on transcendental knowledge given by authorized acharyas. Simply by sitting, one can learn. Then one can eat the remnants of the food offered to God, nice palatable dishes. In every state, devotional service is joyful. One can execute devotional service even in the most poverty-stricken condition. The Lord says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He is ready to accept from the devotee any kind of offering, never mind what, even if a leaf, a flower, a bit of fruit, or a little water, which are all available in every part of the world, can be offered by any person, regardless of social position, and will be accepted if offered with love. There are many instances in history. Simply by tasting the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages like Sanat Kumara became great devotees. Therefore, the devotional service is very nice and it can be executed in happy mood. God accepts only the love with which things are offered to Him.
This we will study in detail. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Yeah, we see that like Dhruv Maharaj in forest also could perform devotional service. Shabari also could perform in forest devotional service. And Ambarish Maharaj could perform in his palace. So in all places it could be performed. There is no constraint on no, it should be performed only in this way, in this time like that. So here basically how happily performed is, it is joyful and it is easily performed and there are very less obstacles or less constraints, etc. So you can take around 7 minutes and you can see like how performing bhakti is happier. In you can consider any of these criteria, then materialistic life, uh, or and then karma yoga. Karma yoga you studied in the last 6 chapters, first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and Jnana yoga and Dhyana yoga we studied in the 6th chapter. So you can think and then we'll discuss. Okay. Okay. Yes, but the first one, the life of a devotee versus the life of a materialist. How life is happier. Yes, Yashas Prabhu can start.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So first we have to just only focus on materialistic perspective, na?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
yeah. You can tell from external perspective only. Internal, we know clearly that how it is happier, but external perspective.
yeah. So, Prabhuji, for external purpose, the generally the materialistic people go only one day in a week for just dance and hang out. But in the devotional life, every day is our morning start with the dance, and the person who is not happy is not do dance at all, because it is a scientific and social, even we can say psychologist said, until a person is not happy he cannot dance. So if so our morning start with dance and music, so it's also affect our brain. It's a very positive way, so it makes us happy. Then generally the materialistic people does not eat very hygienic food, so it causes miseries after some time. They go to the hospital and they said, oh my god, why I'm eating so that garbage and all this thing. But in devotional life we actually eat only pure hygienic food, because we have to offer the Lord. So we are consuming hygienic food. Even we have lots of options, like we have lots of recipes, so we offer to Lord. Even Prabhupada said also, we have to offer Lord very palatable dishes and very high, we can say the very tasty dishes. So in the terms of taste, it's also very good. And yeah, but the other point actually in the Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga.
Okay,
So
that yeah, we'll come to that. Anyone wants to add? Yes, Sundari Subhadra Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. So even if their material life is very enjoyable also, but still it is non-permanent. At some stage, it becomes stagnant. But when it comes to bhakti is even if they are experiencing it for 1 week also, but it will increase only, and even if it is not increasing also, there will be no loss. So it will be going to their permanent account. And however, if material pleasures are considered, they are not permanent. Their nature is like they will diminish.
Okay.
So this point is there, Prabhu.
Okay, fine. Yes. Yeah, Yashas Prabhu wants to add anything?
yes, Prabhuji. The one more thing. Actually, the devotional life also money
Sorry, we
saving.
are not able to hear.
Hare Krishna.
Last.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Now it's better.
Yeah. So even as compared to the materialistic life, the devotional life also the money saving and time saving.
Yes.
Because in the materialistic life we spend our time on the so many nonsense thing, and still after it's just a 2 minute 3 minute pleasure, even if we are tasting something or if we are buying new phone, so after a month we get bored. But in the devotional life we know the purpose of every material thing is to serve Krishna, so we never get bored. Even if in the materialistic life people spending so many money for just to show off, but in devotional life we are using only simple life and high thinking, so it's also save our money and time and so many things. So again, in terms in case of emergency we have uh, sufficient amount of money, so it's a happier thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Good, good. Very practical points. Yes, Amrita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Uh, Prabhu, in materialistic life, we have friends, but they are envious with us. But in devotional, we have a good friend.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yes, this is also important point. Even within a family, also a family can stay together more if they are devotees, because there is some common goal, and there is there may be differences, but there is some way to how to resolve the differences, etc. How to see those differences. Thank you. Okay, now we'll come to the second question. So how devotional service is more easy and happily performed than Karma Yoga? Yes, okay, Yashas bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So in terms of Karma Yoga, so devotee knows I'm just a doer, so I don't have to be attached by the result. So because by the if we are attached with the result, it's create depression in our mind. Sorry, it's create stress in our mind. So we
Yeah.
get depressed by the stress. So sometimes we get so we develop some bad habit, and some people consult the psychiatrist, and some people become alcoholic. So so in the devotional life, actually, we don't attach with the result. So we know whatever we get, it's just because of the mercy of the Lord, and we have to do our best. So we are very focused on our karma, and we do our karma in that way. So our devotional life not get affected. Even it's make our life more peaceful and calm, and we are just get off from this rat race
Okay,
culture.
fine. Okay, fine. Yeah, but we are like want to discuss more specific with the process of Karma Yoga and devotional service. But okay, let's hear from others. Okay, Hemavarna Lalita Mataji. Okay, Sundari Subhadra Mataji, can you tell?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, in terms of the process of karma, even if the person is performing karma yoga and he is doing some pious activities also, or good karma also, he might enjoy in some heavenly planets in his next life, or even in the present life, he may get the benefits of his good karma from the past life. But once that accumulated karma is done or finished, then he comes back to the position of miserable life, or in this material world he will be pushed. But if he is performing bhakti, then he realized that even if he is performing the karma yoga, but he gets free from the attachment to the fruits, or he offers all the fruits of his activities to Lord. Thus he becomes free from the effects of those karma, and he can in the same life he can attain the higher perfection of yoga. Even by performing karma yoga, he can attain the higher perfection.
Yes, yes. Okay, fine. This is a good point. Okay, Sharad Murari Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. So in Karma Yoga, the focus is on self, that I have to do these things and then I will enjoy.
Okay, yes.
But in for devotees, the focus is more to please Krishna devotees and Guru Maharaj. So
Yes, yes.
even if in material, even if the in the endeavor, if someone fails, then in Karma Yoga, because the center was self, the distress comes. But because in devotional life, even if one fail, but devotees are pleased with the endeavor, or Krishna is pleased with the endeavor, then the happiness comes. So in that sense, it is more happier process.
Yes, yes, yes. Good, good. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, adding to that also, Karma Yoga, the process is very difficult, because if somebody has to perform a yajna, so one has to collect that much money, then they have to get the proper brahmanas, and then arrange it, and it's very elaborate and cumbersome and tiresome process, and it takes long, because the mercy of the Lord is not involved. The Lord is like very indifferent to it. So it takes long time, and it is needs lot of elaborate things, and one has to follow properly all varnashrama and all. But bhakti yoga is not fully not it's not a strict prerequisite varnashrama and all. Okay, yes. And if any problem, if any mistake happens in the performance of any ritual, then they have to do prayaschitta, all that. So it's a very complex one and very intricate ones. Okay. Yes, now Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga and Bhakti. What are the difference? How Bhakti is easier than Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga? less restrictions. Someone wants to try. Yeah, like yeah, we have studied in the 6th chapter. Like for Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, the prerequisite is one has to renounce the world. But for Bhakti Yoga, it is not like that. So that way, Bhakti Yoga, even one in a householder state also one can do. Okay, yes, Ravi Roshan Prabhu. Answer. Okay. Yes, Srimati Vasudha Mataji, you want to answer?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, pranams.
Yes,
In Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, they achieve their goal was liberation and mixed with Brahman. They not serve their senses to Krishna. But in Bhakti Yoga,
yes.
their all senses serve towards Krishna, so they get more happy too.
Yes, yes, yes. Very nice point. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Yashraj bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mm.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, in first of all, in the Gyan Yoga, first we have to collect the first we have to read the Shastras and collect the knowledge. Okay, so it's very time consuming process because in the Gyan Yoga there is lots of things. So first we have to read by our own perspective, then we have to understand it. So it takes so many time, and there is a Sanskrit knowledge is also needed. But in the Bhakti Yoga, we have already the good devotees, so they will give the essence of the Shastras. So we are not struck with the so many things because Shastra have so many rituals and things, and there's lots of even there is a commentaries on the Shastra. There is a lots of mind jugglery and speculations. So in the bhakti, we get the essence. What is the purpose of the gyan? So purpose of gyan is realize what is ourself, what we are, what is God, and what is the connection with the God. So in the bhakti yoga, we know all the purpose of the gyan. So we know we are the soul. We know the Lord is Krishna, and what is the connection of Krishna to us is we are the servant of Krishna. So we fulfill Bhakti Yoga always contains the Jnana Yoga. So it's very time saver, and we saw that we are if we are performing just the Jnana Yoga, we become dry because there is no enjoyment, and our mind get dry by the speculating thing, and we are doing so many speculation. Even our mind sometimes rejects some shastric point. So it's very hectic process, we can say. But Bhakti Yoga is very simple. So it's in this perspective, Bhakti is happier. And in the terms of a Dhyana Yoga, so as Mataji said, we have to control our senses first because there is a eightfold yoga system. We have the dhyan, dharana, pratyahar, yama, niyama. And if we are performing bhakti, the yam and niyam is automatically done because our life is regulated. So we don't have to go to the jungle and the mountains. We don't want to search the sacred place. So wherever we perform the bhakti, the place become also a tirtha, because there is a verse in the Bhagavatam, Tirtham Kurvanti Tirtha. Devotee can make the Tirtha pilgrimage to pilgrimage, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, pure devotee. So Dhyan Yoga is very difficult. Even in the Neo Dhyan Yogis, what they taught, just focus on void. So it's how can a person focus on void? Because it's also it maybe make them very few minutes of calmness, but it's not give them the pleasure. But in the Bhakti Yoga, the people feel the pleasure and they also distribute the pleasure. So it's not just a self-centric point; it's a social working also.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Nice points. Very thoughtful points. Yeah, Prabhupada will come in the 12th chapter. It's very difficult to how focus on the void. Okay, Sharad Murari Prabhu.
Yes, so just extending the points told by Yashraj Prabhu. So in Dhyan Yoga also we have studied that there is a process that one has to go into the secluded place, then sit on the kusha grass, and some other things are there. So it is there are many obstacles to perform it. But in Bhakti Yoga, there is, in one sense, there is no condition where to chant, at what time to chant, and also in that way, it is less obstacles, so it's a bit happier, more happier.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, nice points. Thank you very much. Yes, bro, so you can, okay, last point you can tell.
Yes, so in the Dhyan Yoga, we need actually physical health also, because by performing asana and pranayama, we need some physical strength and other thing.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
yes, nice points. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, Sharad Pro, you can continue.
Yes.
It is said.
It is said here that this devotional service is eternally existing. It is not as the Mayavadi philosophers claim. Although they sometimes take to so-called devotional service, their idea is that as long as they are not liberated, they will continue their devotional service. But at the end, when they become liberated, they will become one with God. Such temporary time serving devotional service is not accepted as pure devotional service. Actual devotional service continues even after liberation. When the devotee goes to the spiritual planet in the kingdom of God, he is also engaged there in serving the Supreme Lord. He does not try to become one with the Supreme Lord. As we will, as will be seen in Bhagavad Gita, actual devotional service begins after liberation. After one is liberated, when one is situated in the Brahman position, Brahma Bhuta, Bhagavad Gita 18.54, once devotional service begins, Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. By executing devotional service, one can understand the Supreme Lord. No one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by executing Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or any other yoga independently. By these yogic methods, one may make a little progress towards Bhakti Yoga, but without coming to the stage of devotional service, one cannot understand what is the personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed that when one becomes purified by executing the process of devotional service, especially by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from realized souls, then he can understand the science of Krishna or the science of God. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata. When one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. Thus, the process of devotional service or of Krishna consciousness is the king of all education and the king of all confidential knowledge. It is the purest form of religion and it can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, one should adopt it.
It's like if you see Karma Yoga, one starts Karma Yoga, then after Karma Yoga, one has to practice Jnana Yoga, then only one can reach perfection. So it stops at intermediate stage. And if Jnana Yoga, one may do Jnana Yoga fully till perfection, but once one attains Brahman and all, then he cannot continue that. He will do something else. Means he will not act only. But Bhakti Yoga, when the means and the end are same. Like one can starts Bhakti Yoga, perfects it, and after perfection also continues the process. So that in that way it is avyaya. Okay. We'll go to the next verse. Ashraddhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa
Ashraddhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa
aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani.
aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vatmani.
Okay, the translation. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Even though, like, no, there is theoretical understanding of all these, just what we discussed. It is no, it is very easy, it is very pure, one can directly experience it. But still, one may not take to this devotional service because of lack of faith, because they don't associate with devotees, and because they do mental speculation. So because of that, they will not take to this devotional service. Yeah, because they don't do faith. Why they don't take? Because they have not developed faith in devotional service. And why? Because they have not associated with devotees of the Lord. Yes, bro, you can read.
The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, faith is a most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.31.14, Yathartaror Nishachanena Trapyanti Tat Skandha Bhujo Pashkha
Aha.
Prano Pahara Yathendriyanam Tathaiva Sarva Haram Achyuteja. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves. And by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities. Therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that is faith. Now, the development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. There are three divisions of Krishna conscious men. In the third class are those who have no faith. Even if they are officially engaged in devotional service, they cannot achieve the highest perfectional stage. Most probably, they will slip after some time. They may become engaged, but because they haven't complete conviction and faith, it is very difficult for them to continue in Krishna consciousness. We have practical experience of discharging our missionary activity that some people come and apply themselves to Krishna consciousness with some hidden motive. And as soon as they are economically a little well situated, they give up this process and take to their old ways again. It is only by faith that one can advance in Krishna consciousness. As far as the development of faith is concerned, one who is well versed in the literatures of devotional service and has attained the stage of firm faith is called first class person in Krishna consciousness. And in the second class are those who are not very advanced in understanding of devotional scriptures, but who automatically have firm faith that Krishna Bhakti or service to Krishna is the best course, and so in good faith have uh, taken it up. Thus, they are superior to the third class, who have neither perfect knowledge of the scripture nor good faith, but by association and simplicity are trying to follow. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down, but when one is in the second class, he does not fall down. And for the third class person in Krishna consciousness, there is no chance
First class person.
for the first class person in Krishna consciousness, there is no chance of falling down. One in the first class will surely make progress and achieve the result at the end. As far as the third class person in Krishna consciousness is concerned, although he has faith in the conviction that devotional service to Krishna is very good, he has not yet gained adequate knowledge of Krishna through the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes these third class persons in Krishna consciousness have some tendency towards karma yoga and gyan yoga, and sometimes they are disturbed. But as soon as the infection of karma yoga or gyan yoga is vanquished, they become second class or first class persons in Krishna consciousness. Faith in Krishna is also divided into three stages and described in Srimad Bhagavatam: first class attachment, second class attachment, and third class attachment. are also explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. Those who have no faith, even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, who think that it is simply yogi, find the path very difficult, even if they are supposedly engaged in devotional service. For them, there is very little hope of gaining perfection. Thus, faith is very important in the discharge of devotional service.
Yeah, so there are three types, levels of devotees. So first is the neophyte devotee. His faith is impure and he has improper understanding. So like if you see the temple also, like there may be some employees, they they may also chant, but their chanting is so that they get so that they can impress their authorities and get promotion or increase in salary, but they may not really have that faith in chanting. And naturally, like once they go for another job or something, then they may leave chanting. So for the neophyte devotee, it is very important to hear in the association of devotees. So then slowly the contamination of karma, jnana, all these things will go and he'll become more steadily situated. A Madhyamadikari, he is steadily situated. He has faith, but lacks very realized understanding, very deep understanding of scriptures. So for a Madhyamadikari, he need to associate with more advanced devotees, Uttamadikaris, and he has to practice bhajan with focus. This is like Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells in Jayodharma. And for Uttamadikari, his faith is very deep and his realized understanding. And like Prabhupada told, he will perfect his life. He will perfect his Krishna consciousness in this life. So yeah. Okay, now we can take around 3 minutes and we'll discuss how to increase our faith. Only 3 minutes. Okay, yes, you can raise your hand. Any points on how to increase our faith? Yes, Sundari Subhadra Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. So by associating with Shuddha Bhaktas or Shuddha pure devotees, we can increase our faith. But at the same time, we should refrain from having our hidden agendas. We should not have any desire to please ourselves or our own unsaid desires, but we should always have this consciousness that we are doing this uh, for Lord or for increasing our faith. So without and this can be again attained only by association with pure devotees, and we should
Yes,
do
yes.
more and more bhajan in association.
Yes, yes, yes. Fine, thank you. Yes. Next are hearing from pure devotees and also doing our bhajan in association with devotees. Okay. Okay, Hema Varna Lalita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
By sadhu sangha and hearing and reading the scriptures regularly, consistently, Vaishnava Sheva, and also eating prasad only at all
Okay.
circumstances. If it not so, the Shraddha will be compromised. Thank you,
Okay.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Yes, yes, nice points. Okay, Yashraj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Namaskar. Prabhuji, so as all points are covered, but I have some different point. Actually, when we are reading about the stories of devotee, for example, if we are reading about the Prabhupada, and when we hearing about the Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, and there is lots of devotees mentioned in the Bhagavatam and scriptures. So when we hear and when we read, so when we saw and every condition, for example, Prahlad Maharaj have so many problems and trouble from his father's side. So when we hear that, so we it increase our faith and determination in path of bhakti. Because is for my example, when my father makes some trouble in the path of some devotion in the early stage, so now it's favorable, but at the early stage he didn't so much favorable at that time. So I asked him, do my Prabhuji, I have that problem from my father's side. So he said, okay, your father has some problem, but he's not cruel than Hiranyakashipu. So I think that okay, so my father is much uh, gentle than a Hiranyakashipu. At least he didn't kill me. So I thought and I meditated on Prahlad Maharaj. So it increased my faith in devotion. So when we are hearing about the devotees, because sometimes it may be chances if we are hearing about the Lord, so we think okay, he's a God, so he has supernatural powers and all these things. But devotee acts like a human being. So when we heard about like Tukaram Maharaj and other devotees, so we correlate very easily to our life. Okay, so in that case, devotee perform have mindset of this. We can say that in that particular situation, devotee has that mindset, and his action is just like that, which is favorable to devotion. So yeah, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, nice point. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Srimati Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranams Prabhu.
Yes,
Already Mataji told, reading and hearing is most important, Prabhu. So we have to regulate this. Whenever we read and hearing, so we have to, whenever we chant, that time we recollect those points. And whenever we associate with devotees, that time we share our points. So it will also increase our faith, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Yeah, we should try to meditate and share with devotees. That also helps. Okay, yes. Okay, we will try to maybe take two verses. Now, the next section, Krishna tells about his own, means how he is the creator and maintainer of the universe. Okay, yeah, we will first say the verse. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina
Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina
matstani sarvabhutani na chaham teshu avastita.
matstani sarvabhutani na chaham teshva avastita.
To the translation, by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So the seventh chapter, it's like Lord talks about his energies, but the ninth chapter, Krishna talks about his activities towards the jivas. No, that I maintain the universe. I destroy the universe, and I only again maintain create the universe, and all jivas are no dependent on me. So I provide them everything like that. So he tells in such a way so that that will evoke devotion. Means from a somebody who is pure and who is sane. So they will naturally, oh, Lord is giving me so much. So naturally that gratitude comes. Of course, if somebody is not grateful and all, then somebody may complain, okay, why you are giving only this much? Why not so much? Why not more? So, but this is for a one who is pure and one who is in goodness, they may develop gratitude. So that way, hearing the glories of the Lord with respect to even the material world, it will evoke devotion. So the next few verses are Lord is speaking for with that context, with that purpose. Okay, yes, you can read purport.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not perceivable through the gross material senses. It is said, Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved griham indriye. Sevan mukhe hi jivvado swayam eva spruharti ada. Lord Shri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance is he revealed. In the Brahma Samhita 5.38, it is stated, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Shanta Sadaiva Hrideshu Vilokayanti. One can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, always within himself and outside himself, if one has developed the transcendental loving attitude towards him. Thus, for people in general, he is not visible. Here it is said that although he is all pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by the material senses. This is indicated here by the word Avyakta Murtina. But actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him. As we have discussed in the seventh chapter, the entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two different energies, the superior, the spiritual energy, and the inferior material energy. As the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. Yet one should not conclude that because he is spread all over, he has lost his personal existence. To refute such an argument, Lord says, I am everywhere and everything is in me, but still I am aloof. For example, a king heads a government which is but the manifestation of the king's energy. The different governmental departments are nothing but the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power. But still, one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. That is the crude example. Similarly, all the manifestation that we see and everything that exists both in this material world and in the spiritual world are resting on the energy of the supreme personality of Godhead. The creation takes place by the diffusion of his energies, and as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishtabhyam idam Krishnam. Krishnam. He is everywhere present by his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies.
Yes, so this is a well-known analogy. Like a king has energies because he has control on various things. Though he need not be physically present, similarly, Lord need not be physically present. His energies, through his energies, everything is dependent and resting on him. And also, he is present in the form of Paramatma in everything. So that way also is present. So that's what he is again. It's not like because he spread all over the place, he did not lose his personal existence. This we studied also in Upanishad, similar thing. Okay, now next verse. Nachamatstani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram
न च मस्तानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्
bhutabhrun nacha bhutasto mamatma bhutabhavana.
भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावना.
Yes, okay, the translation. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. So it's an interesting thing. Like now, let's say the king, he has some, he has a, he has his treasury. Though he is not physically present always in treasury, he is controlling the treasury. But the treasury occupies his mind. Always he will have some anxiety that no, so no one should steal the treasury, or no, there should not be, or there should not be some no rats or something which may eat the no currency notes. So always, or there should not be some power failure, short circuit. All this anxiety will be there in some way or other. But for the Lord, though he is responsible for the entire universe, but still that he doesn't have that anxiety. They are not in me. They don't occupy his mind. So that is the inconceivability of the Lord. Pashyame yogam aishwaram. So that is his inconceivability. Yes, bro, read the purport.
The Lord says that everything is resting on him. Matstani sarva bhutani. Bhagavad Gita 9.4. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe on his shoulder. He seems to be very tired, holding this great earthy planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The planetary systems are floating in space, and this space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated. Therefore, the Lord says, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. In the Nivrukti Vedic dictionary, it is said, Yujjate anena durgateshu karyeshu. The Supreme Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and his determination it is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of God is to be understood. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact. Although he is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, he does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by his supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. There is no difference between his mind and himself, as there is a difference between ourselves and our present material mind, because he is absolute spirit. Simultaneously, the Lord is present in everything. Yet the common man cannot understand how he is also present personally. He is different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting on him. This is explained here as Yogam Aishwaryam. Aishwaram. the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Like Prabhupada is saying that we may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. Like you see, just to get a train running in on the same time every day, on regular basis is itself a challenge. But if we don't see, the sun always it follows the same time, it rises. It never misses the time, and it is happening day after day, year after year, millennium after millennium, yuga after yuga. So that is the greatness of the Lord. Okay, so we will continue with the next verse from the next class. Okay, any questions on what we discussed till now? Okay, if there are no questions, okay, thank you very much for your participation and patiently hearing it, attention. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki